What if I told you about a city so defined by its chaos, so choked by the dust of its own progress, that it's almost forgotten its royal past? A place where the air you breathe can shorten your life by years, yet where the warmth of human connection can leave you breathless in a completely different way. This isn't a story about a tourist destination. It's a journey into the heart of a paradox, a city of 15 million people fighting for its future, while haunted by the ghosts of a glorious empire. Forget what you think you know about Pakistan. We're going to peel back the layers of smog and headlines to find the soul of Lahore. And the story it tells is one of the most compelling and confronting on Earth. The first thing that hits you in Lahore isn't a sight, but a sound. A relentless, all-encompassing roar that vibrates in your chest. It's the sound of survival, the collective hum of millions of small engines, each one a story of a day's work, a family's journey, a desperate hustle. On any given street, you are not simply in traffic, you are swept into a living, breathing organism. Forget everything you learned about orderly lanes, traffic lights, and right-of-way. Here, the only rule is the relentless pursuit of forward momentum. The bloodstream of this organism is the motorcycle. Of the over 6 million vehicles choking the city's arteries, the vast majority, more than 4 million of them, are these two-wheeled engines of commerce and family life. They are the family car, the delivery truck, and the mobile storefront, all in one. They weave through gaps so narrow they defy physics, a rider calmly balancing his wife, 2 children, and a week's worth of groceries. They carry towering stacks of eggs that would make a logistics expert weep, or panes of glass that seem to slice through the air. It looks like pure, unadulterated anarchy. But watch closely, and you begin to decipher the unwritten language. It's a high-speed, high-stakes ballot governed by an instinctual understanding. A slight hand gesture signals a turn, a subtle shift in weight communicates intent, a quick, sharp honk that means, "I am here, be aware of me," not the angry, "get out of my way," of Western cities. This isn't chaos for chaos's sake. It's a system forged in the crucible of necessity, in a city whose population has exploded far beyond the capacity of its colonial-era infrastructure. And where this human traffic flows, the refuse of life inevitably follows. You see it piled in corners, on median strips, and along canal banks. A stark testament to a municipal system buckling under the weight of a population that generates over 7,000 tons of solid waste every single day. Bags of household trash, bursting at the seams, become impromptu landmarks. They attract swarms of flies, packs of stray dogs with wary eyes, and great, black, winged kites that circle overhead before descending to pick through the debris. It's easy to judge, to recoil from the sight, and the sweet, sickly smell that hangs in the humid air. But this is not simply a story of uncleanliness. It's the visual evidence of an urban explosion. For decades, a continuous tide of humanity has flowed from rural villages into Lahore, all searching for work, for education, for a sliver of a better life. This migration has created a sprawling, low-rise megacity where basic services like waste collection, despite the efforts of entities like the Lahore Waste Management Company, are perpetually playing catch-up. In the older parts of the city, this reality is even more raw, more confronting. You can turn a corner and see a butcher, working in the open air. His movements are swift and practiced as he carves a carcass hanging from a hook. The fresh, red meat is laid out on a wooden block, just meters away from a festering pile of neighborhood garbage. It's a jarring juxtaposition that assaults Western sensibilities and raises immediate, screaming concerns about hygiene and contamination. Yet for the millions who call these dense neighborhoods home, this is simply the backdrop of their daily existence. The butcher is a local fixture, the meat is fresh from that morning, the price is affordable, and life, in all its messy, complicated reality, goes on. This is the first and most fundamental lesson of Lahore. What looks like a total system breakdown from the outside is often, from the inside, a resilient, intricate system of adaptation. It's a way of making life work against incredible odds. And then, in the middle of it all, if you raise a camera, something remarkable happens. A face in the crowd, a cart puller, a shopkeeper, a woman bargaining for vegetables, catches your eye and breaks into a genuine, unprompted, welcoming smile. It's a fleeting moment of human connection that cuts through the noise, the grime, and the sensory overload, a powerful hint that there is a much deeper story here, far beyond the chaotic surface. The chaos you can see is one thing. The real, insidious danger in Lahore is the one you can't. It's the air itself. There's a grim local saying, repeated with a kind of fatalistic humor, that a day spent breathing in Lahore is equivalent to smoking a pack of cigarettes. It's not an exaggeration. If anything, it might be an understatement. The World Health Organization sets a guideline for safe air quality, measuring the concentration of fine particulate matter known as PM 2.5. These are microscopic particles of soot, dust, and chemical compounds 30 times smaller than the width of a human hair, and they are the primary villain in this story. A city with clean air might have a PM 2.5 value of around 20 to 25. In Lahore, during the notorious smog season, from October to February, that number doesn't just rise, it skyrockets. It averages 300, and on the worst days it can surge past 400, sometimes even touching the hazardous 500 mark on the Air Quality Index. That's more than 16 times the level the WHO considers safe for human lungs. These aren't just abstract numbers on a government website. They are a direct, sustained assault on the human body. This toxic cocktail, a blend of dust from crumbling, unpaved roads, exhaust from millions of poorly maintained engines, smoke from agricultural crop burning in neighboring India, and the unfiltered emissions from the thousands of factories ringing the city, is too fine for the body's natural defenses to stop. It bypasses the nose and throat and lodges deep within the lungs, causing inflammation and passing directly into the bloodstream. The consequences are devastating. The government of Pakistan reports that air pollution contributes to the deaths of at least 135,000 people across the country annually, and Lahore is the undisputed epicenter of this public health crisis. Life expectancy in this city is estimated to be reduced by as much as 7 years compared to places with clean air. Asthma, bronchitis, heart disease, strokes, and lung cancer are not abstract risks. They are the lived reality for countless families. You hear the constant, wheezing sound of a child's nebulizer through an open window. You see elderly men pausing, gasping for breath. After walking half a block, you see people wearing surgical masks, not as a fading relic of the pandemic, but as a daily, non-negotiable tool for survival. For them, the threat was never just a virus, it's the very atmosphere they depend on to live. But this crisis, like so many others, is not experienced equally. To truly understand pollution in Lahore is to understand the city's deep, almost feudal, social divides. To see this, you must travel to a neighborhood like the Defense Housing Authority, or DHA. Passing its checkpoints is like crossing an international border. Here, you enter another world. The roar of traffic softens. Wide tree Lined avenues are regularly swept and watered down to keep the dust at bay. Manicured, emerald, green lawns sit behind high, secure walls, and the quiet hum of private generators ensures an uninterrupted supply of electricity. The air inside the opulent homes and luxury SUVs is scrubbed clean by expensive, imported purification systems. Here, the wealthy can effectively buy their way out of the worst effects of the pollution, creating hermetically sealed bubbles of clean air in the middle of a toxic sea. Then, travel back to the walled city, the ancient, beating heart of Lahore. Here, there are no wide avenues, only a labyrinth of narrow, winding alleys where sunlight struggles to reach the ground. Homes are packed tight, one on top of the other, with a chaotic tangle of illegal electricity wires. The Kunda system, crisscrossing overhead like a dense spiderweb, millions live, work, and raise their families in the thick of it. There are no air purifiers, no sealed windows, no manicured lawns. Children play cricket in dusty, enclosed courtyards where the PM 2.5 count is at its most concentrated. This is the brutal inequality of the climate crisis in microcosm. It is a tale of two cities, breathing two different qualities of air, living two different lifespans, all within the same municipal boundaries. When the smog becomes so thick that the government is forced to close schools and order businesses to shut down, it's a city-wide emergency. But its weight falls heaviest on the shoulders of those with the fewest resources to protect themselves, the very people whose labor fuels the city's economic engine. It's almost impossible to reconcile the Lahore of today, the Lahore of smog, traffic, and struggle, with the Lahore of history, because beneath the layers of modern grime and existential crisis lies a city that was once the crown jewel of the mighty Mughal Empire. This wasn't just a provincial backwater. For a time, this was a global capital of culture, art, poetry, and power, a city whose splendor was legendary across the world. To truly understand the depth of Lahore's current tragedy, you must walk among the ghosts of its glorious past. Enter the Lahore Fort, the Shahi Qila, a sprawling, fortified complex of palaces, halls, and gardens that has been the seat of power for centuries. When you walk through the monumental Alamgiri Gate, with its grand flanking bastions, you are stepping back in time. You can almost hear the rustle of silk and the shuffle of royal slippers on polished marble floors. Stand in the Diwan-e-Am, the hall of public audience, and imagine the great emperors, Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan, sitting on a marble throne in the Jarokha, a balcony from which they dispensed justice to their subjects. Then, lose yourself in the Sheesh Mahal, the Palace of Mirrors. It's a breathtaking chamber, where thousands of tiny, intricately cut convex mirrors are embedded in the stucco walls and ceilings, alongside exquisite floral inlay work known as pietra dura. It was designed to glitter and dance in the light of a single candle, creating the illusion of a starry night sky. It is a masterpiece of craftsmanship, a testament to a time of unimaginable wealth, sophisticated artistry, and aesthetic ambition. From the fort, stand and look across the Hazori Bagh, a garden built by the Sikhs who came after the Mughals, and you will see the Badshahi Mosque, commissioned by the formidable Emperor Aurangzeb. It was the largest mosque in the world for over 300 years. Its 4 towering minarets and 3 majestic, bulbous marble domes dominate the city's skyline, a powerful statement of faith, an imperial might carved in red sandstone and pristine white marble. To stand in its vast central courtyard, a space capable of holding 100 Zalazan worshippers, is to feel a sense of scale and sublime grandeur that is utterly humbling. This was the undisputed center of an empire, a place where power, art, and divinity converged. Now look closer. A fine layer of gray-brown dust, the very same dust from the city's relentless traffic and unregulated factories, now settles on these ancient, hallowed stones. The intricate, delicate carvings are being slowly, inexorably eroded by acid rain, a direct and devastating result of the chronic air pollution. The panoramic vista from the fort's walls, which once offered a clear view of the Ravi River and the lush countryside beyond, is now often completely obscured by a thick, oppressive blanket of smog. The very symbols of Lahore's golden age are being physically suffocated by the crisis of its modern era. This isn't just physical decay, it's a profound cultural heartbreak. The city that was once a global beacon of beauty, the fabled Paris of the East, is now locked in a desperate battle to simply breathe. The contrast is stark, visceral, and deeply painful. It makes you wonder what the emperors who built this paradise on earth would think if they saw their beloved Lahore, their legacy, gasping for air. So how did it come to this? How did a city of gardens and poets become one of the world's most polluted urban centers? The answer, like everything in Lahore, is complicated, layered, and deeply rooted in the city's modern identity as the economic engine of Pakistan. Lahore isn't just a historical artifact to be preserved in amber. It's a buzzing, thrumming industrial heartland. It is home to thousands of factories, from massive, state-of-the-art textile mills that supply global fast fashion brands, to countless small, family-run workshops in back alleys forging steel parts, manufacturing surgical instruments, or tanning leather. This industrial base is the city's lifeblood. It provides millions of jobs, fuels the national economy, and acts as a powerful magnet, drawing in people from all over the country in search of a better life. But this relentless pursuit of progress has come at a staggering environmental cost. For decades, industrial growth was pursued with a single-minded focus, with little to no thought given to environmental regulation. Factory smokestacks billowed black, untreated smoke directly into the sky. Industrial effluent, a toxic brew of chemicals, dyes, and heavy metals from tanneries and factories, was often discharged directly into the city's canals and ultimately into the nearby Ravi River. The river that once nurtured the city has become its sacrificial artery, a biologically dead waterway carrying the untreated waste of millions, poisoning the groundwater and the agricultural lands downstream. The very industries that built the city's modern prosperity are also the ones systematically poisoning it. It's the classic, painful dilemma of a developing nation, writ large and in choking detail. How do you create jobs and lift millions out of poverty without destroying the very environment you depend on to survive? You see this wrenching conflict playing out on the streets every single day. Look at the donkey carts, the original form of last-mile delivery, patiently navigating the chaotic traffic. To a Western eye, they might seem primitive, a quaint relic of a bygone era. But here, they are a critical, irreplaceable part of the informal economy. They transport goods through narrow lanes where modern trucks cannot go. They represent a livelihood for their owners, a powerful symbol of making do with what you have. Similarly, the thousands of auto rickshaws, the iconic tuk-tuks of Pakistan, are often powered by noisy, inefficient two-stroke engines that are major polluters. But they provide essential, affordable transportation for millions and a steady income for their drivers. To demand that these be taken off the road overnight in the name of clean air is to ignore the stark economic reality for the people who depend on them. The government finds itself in an immense, almost impossible bind. They can try to enforce stricter emissions standards, but that could put thousands of small, independent operators out of business. They can invest in massive public transport projects like the new, modern Orange Line Metro. But its construction was controversial, displacing communities and threatening historic sites, and its fares, while subsidized, are still too high for the city's poorest citizens, who remain dependent on the cheaper, more polluting alternatives. Lahore is caught in a vicious trap. It needs its industries to provide jobs, it needs its informal transport systems to function, but the cumulative, toxic effect of it all is slowly, undeniably, killing the city. After days of navigating the chaos, breathing the difficult air, and confronting the city's immense, seemingly intractable challenges, it would be easy to leave Lahore with a sense of overwhelming despair. But that would be to miss the most important, most profound part of the story. Because the true, resilient soul of this city isn't found in its pollution statistics or its crumbling monuments. It's found in its people. There is a concept in South Asia known as resilience, but in Lahore, it is elevated to a veritable art form. It's in the quiet dignity of the shopkeeper, who meticulously dusts his packaged goods every single morning, fighting a Sisyphean battle against the omnipresent layer of grit that settles on everything. It's in the infectious laughter of children playing a frantic game of cricket in a dusty, narrow lane, finding pure, unadulterated joy in a world that seems to offer little of it. And it is in the overwhelming, almost startling hospitality. In a place where life is so visibly hard, the generosity extended to a stranger is profound and deeply humbling. You could be lost in a labyrinthine alley, and within minutes, a shopkeeper will abandon his post, sit you down on a plastic stool, order a cup of steaming, sweet chai for you from a nearby vendor, and vehemently refuse any form of payment. This isn't just politeness. It's a deeply ingrained cultural and religious value, a belief that a guest is a blessing from God. And then there is the food. Lahore is, without question, one of the world's great, unsung food cities. To walk down a designated food street at night is to be swept up in a joyous, chaotic festival of the senses. The air, thick with the aromatic smoke of grilling meats, the sizzle of hot oil, and the fragrant steam rising from massive pots of biryani and halim, temporarily overpowers the acrid smell of pollution. Here, Lahoris from all walks of life, from families in luxury cars to laborers on motorcycles, come together to share in a collective, unifying passion. From the rich, spicy, slow-cooked beef stew known as nihari, to the sweet, sticky, bright orange spirals of jalebi fried fresh before your eyes. The food is a source of immense civic pride and a daily celebration of life itself. You also see this resilience in the simple, practical wisdom of their way of life. The traditional shower kameez, the loose trousers and long tunic worn by both men and women, isn't just about religious modesty. It's an incredibly intelligent and practical garment for the sweltering heat of the Punjab plains, allowing air to circulate freely. The common sight of people wearing simple slippers or sandals isn't a sign of poverty, but a pragmatic choice for dusty, often muddy streets that can be washed clean in an instant. These are not signs of a city stuck in the past, but of a culture that has perfected the art of adapting to its environment. Lahore may be a city under siege from a crisis largely of its own making, but its heart, its resilient, generous, defiant, and impossibly warm heart, beats as strong as ever. In the end, Lahore leaves you with more questions than answers. It is not a city to be simply seen or ticked off a list, but to be felt, to be wrestled with, to be absorbed. It is a living, breathing testament to the fact that a place can be both a historical treasure and an environmental disaster, a hub of profound hardship and a beacon of incredible human warmth, all at the same time. It's a powerful reminder that the world's most compelling and important stories are rarely found in pristine, perfect, easy to digest places, but in the greedy, complicated, and paradoxical ones. Lahore is the story of Pakistan itself, a nation of immense, undeniable potential and staggering, complex challenges, forever negotiating its relationship between a glorious, heavy past and an uncertain, turbulent future. What is the biggest paradox that defines your own city or a place you've traveled to? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. If this journey gave you a new perspective, consider sharing it with a friend who also loves to look deeper than the surface. And for more deep dives into the world's most fascinating and misunderstood places, make sure to subscribe. Until next time, stay curious.